I always wanted to make.
Well, I auditioned for the role, and the great thing that happened was the audition material was the Sam Shepard play True West, which I knew very well. I mean, I knew it cold. I'd been studying it in class. So I went to the director's house in the Fairfax district, and he said, we're doing scenes from True West to play Lee. True West was the play that made Malkovich and Gary Sinise famous. Later it was done on Broadway with Philip Hoffman and John C. Reilly switching the roles. I mean, it's a classic Sam Shepard play. And I was able to do the 20th anniversary out in Pasadena, so I actually got to put it on stage, which is an incredibly powerful piece. So I was delighted because I had an advantage over the other actors there because I knew the material and I had been working on it, which I didn't let on. But it was just, there was one little moment in the audition, sometimes this happens for actors, where you know, I just got this part. And it was just a little moment where I pretended to punch him. And I saw the light go on in Wallace Potts' eyes, and they made the offer shortly thereafter.
And so I met.
Anything you say can and will be considered extremely strange because you're dead. Thank you. I can't even remember what I had for breakfast, but I remember that line. Thank you, Dan Povenmire. Once you put a gun on your hip and a badge on your chest, you're a changed man. You walk the streets differently. You have the power of life and death in your hands. That appealed to me because I always, disliked those people.
Adultery is still illegal in a lot of states.
It's retribution.
Originally signed a 5-picture deal for the film. So I was convinced that I was the next Freddy Krueger, right? I mean, 5 pictures, and they had insisted on it, and they had tiered the money and everything. So I remember getting that contract. It was for $1.2 million. I thought, I'm rich. I've done it. Okay, it's official. I've achieved it all now. Of course, it didn't work out that way. We made 2 of them, but both of them were fun to make. Well, there is a method. It's called the method. Stanislavski, I was a classically trained actor. I mean, I went to school with Meg Ryan and Michelle Pfeiffer and Sean Penn and Nick Cage and on. This was a very competitive class. She had, Peggy Fury was her name. She had been Lee Strasberg's right-hand girl in New York. So we came up in the tradition of theater. We're theater actors. And so building a character, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it's a craft, and I think that's been lost a lot. I noticed a lot of young actors I talked to. I did a movie with this kid. They keep giving this kid series. They keep failing. But he's a good-looking kid, right? But he has no technique, no game. I mean, he's surviving on charisma and charm and looks, and that's going to run out someday. Someday Anthony Hopkins is going to be standing there, and you better have some serious game, right? You better have a technique. You better have a method. So that's how I approached it. I mean, you build a character, then you execute it. Because you have to, it's like a baseball player, you have to keep repeating the swing, right? Or a golfer, you have to be able to repeat the swing. You can't play it crescendo the whole time, right? Any orchestra will tell you that. You've got to build up to it. I always felt like I wanted to be informed by Christopher Lee and Vincent Price and the grand masters. What they always brought to a part was what I like to call malevolent glee, okay? I mean, they relished the crimes, right? So that's what I wanted to get into Psycho Cop was malevolent glee.
Damn! I'm here! Ding dong! Ding dong calling.
I was using Bobby Ray Shafer as my stage name for Psycho Cop, and I thought, well, I'll just be Robert Shafer of my other stuff. Because the agents would always go, oh, we don't want you to be Bobby Ray. That limits you. Everybody's going to think you're just from Texas. So I thought, well, Bobby Ray would be separate. So naive. It was funny because when I ended up doing The Office, people were saying, how rare it is for a horror villain to end up on a network sitcom? It's rare. So they were like, well, what's with this Bobby Ray Robert thing? And I'm like, I don't know who I am. I'm Bob Vance, I'm Joe Vickers, I'm Dick Dixter, who am I? They came out against it. How dare they? Well, yeah, they were upset, but Vickers isn't even a real cop. He's just sort of masquerading as a cop. He's not actually on a police force.
If you take that movie too seriously,
one of the great things that happened that I think contributed to make the film what it was, we were doing all nights out in Burbank, and so all you do when you're doing nights is you just live and sleep and eat the movie, right? There's no time for anything else. And on our way to work each night, we would stop at Photochem and watch the dailies. So that really contributed a great sense of teamwork to this production. We actually ended up shooting it twice. The first time we shot it, we couldn't use it. I don't know why, but we were downtown on Santa Fe Avenue, and Rifkin was peopling the scene with local residents, drunks, and I mean, just people who were around. He was trying to, people it up. And so there was one guy who actually had a baseball bat in the scene, and he was beating me with it. And I first noticed him because I could smell him. And so this guy could smell this alcohol, and I would look up, and he's filthy, and and he doesn't know to pull the punches. He's just wailing on me with his bat, a wiffle ball bat, but nonetheless. So I grabbed the bat and I yell at Rifkin, who is this? And he goes, he looks great, Bobby. We ended up not using that scene, and then we went out here in the valley to this strip club and shot the reenactment.